All right, thanks for tuning in. If you're gonna fish in the spring, you better be prepared for windy, cold front days. But you can use the wind to your advantage. And lately I've been concentrating on staging bass. You know, they don't all move in to spawn at the same time. Oftentimes the bigger fish will be hanging back on the deeper points. And today I kind of show you how I go about catching them. So stay tuned for that. And I will come back and show you what I'm using and a couple of tips on how I modify baits from time to time. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm out here on a Monday. It's April Fool's Day. Fitting, because I'm pretty much a fool. It is busy. Do people not work anymore? You just can't escape the crowds anymore, unfortunately. For those of you who've never fished in Georgia, that's all pine pollen on the water. Yuck. What do I got here? Just an itty bitty striper. That's why those striper boats are up in here. They got these dinky little stripers. Some of those look like bigger fish. So I'm off of it's a little flat, kind of running beside a point here. A lot of bait. You know what this is? That's why all these striper boats are up in here. Let me get a look at you. Wow. It must be a good one. Not bad, not bad. On the old jig and fluke. It's a nice one. I don't know, 9 pounds maybe 10. Well, will take that. There just might be another. Throw it back in there. Ah, that's fun. That makes my day. So, you've seen me fish it a lot of times. I go back to this all the time because it works. It is deadly effective, and it's just a fluke in a jig head. Doesn't get any simpler. I pour my own jig heads. I like to paint them. I paint mine white. I'm trying to imitate a shad or a blueback herring or a bait fish. There's lots of different sizes of flukes. I carry a lot of different ones with me. Now you're seeing this forward-facing minnows and blah, blah, blah. A fluke is a lot cheaper and it works darn good. I get a lot of comments asking, you know, what size fluke are you using? I pay attention when I'm out on the water. A lot of times you'll see shad near the surface, or a fish you catch will regurgitate a shad that it's just eaten. I pay attention to that. One tip I will give you is I always have scissors with me on the boat, and say you're fishing a regular fluke here and you notice the shad are a lot smaller. Just take your scissors and trim it down. It's simple, you know. So that went from a 4.5 inch fluke down to just a little, a lot of times that makes all the difference in the world. And again, I do dye my tail chartreuse or red depending on the day. Normally chartreuse. It makes a big difference as well. On this day, it was really windy. I was using a 1/4 ounce head and a 3/8. I don't believe I went any heavier than 3/8 that day. But just a little tip to help you out. It will make a difference. A lot of times they'll key in on the small bait and they're not going to hit anything that's bigger. Other days it doesn't matter. So you're going to have to experiment some. Smaller ones in here that a little harder to hook. There we go. Whoa! Hey, it's a spot. How about that? I will take it. I like catching them all. It don't matter to me what species. Nice little spot. That's fun. I'm telling you. Hopefully there'll be some more bigger stripers. I'd like to get up in the creek a little more, but there's just too many people, too many boats. It's all right, I'm catching fish over here. That is fine. Fish are out here a little deeper. Boat's setting in 20 feet. May have to switch to my hair jig. There we go. Ooh, it's another big spot. Nice. This is a nice one here. That's interesting. The first one I missed was not a spot, it was a striper. Once again, I'm using the jig and fluke. It works on any species. It's deadly. Deadly. So I'm seeing a lot of the pros using something similar now with the advent of the forward-facing sonar. But it's been around for years. I mean, literally 20 years ago, we were using it to catch walleyes. I mean, it's just a jig head and a fluke. You can go out and spend the money on the fancy forward-facing minnows and what have you, but it's no different. It's the same thing. But I use it on a 7-foot medium action spinning rod, 8-pound gamma fluorocarbon. It is deadly effective, and I like using it, especially this time of year, because it's a multi-species bait. It'll catch anything that swims, anything that eats shad, and everything eats shad. Carp, gar, walleyes, white bass, any kind of bass. Stripers love it. Anyway, spend the time to learn how to fish it, and it will pay dividends. All right, this next clip, I was fishing, just caught a big striper, throwing out a little deeper, off by myself, bothering nobody. And this bass boat comes in, drives right over the top of where I'm casting. Consequently spooks the school. I was catching spots and stripers in this one, this little area off by myself. So you'll have to forgive me for the little rant that happens after, but got a huge lake, and instead of driving around, the guy drives way too close to begin with, and he drives right over where I'm casting. I would not do that to somebody. And anyway, you'll have to forgive my rant, but just check this out. Look how close this jabron comes. I'm casting there, and he's got to drive right through there. Just irritating. All right, let's talk about fishing etiquette for a moment, shall we? So I was catching fish over here, casting out into deeper water, and this older gentleman with gray hair, old enough to know better, drove right over where I was fishing and cuts right in front of me. This lake is 28,000, 30,000 acres, plenty of water. Don't be that guy. Go around, don't fish on top of someone else. There's no need for it. Plenty of water, plenty of fish. I wonder about who raised these people. I mean, do you cut in front of little old ladies at the grocery store as well? Anyway, rant over. Oh, there he was. Didn't get him. Darn it. There we go. That's one of those little stripers. They're fun though. I'm not complaining. I'd rather have a bigger one. Look at that beautiful little guy. Where there's little ones, there might be a big one. So fishing a jig and fluke or my hair jig, it's kind of like meditation for me. Hard to explain, but there's there's a rhythm to it, and it kind of, I don't know how to explain it. All your troubles go away, and it's just you and the jig. Man, very, very therapeutic for me. A couple more casts and I'll just keep on moving. I got the guy that cut me off right here. I'll just fish right behind him and catch fish. I saw what he was throwing. He ain't gonna catch much. So I had to leave the back of the creek there. Someone obviously caught a striper, and there are live bait guys in there, shoulder to shoulder, just in one little confined area. I just don't understand people. It's a huge lake. Do you think that's the only place you're going to catch fish? I set out, you know, halfway out of the creek and caught plenty. Why would you want to be that close to a bunch of other fishermen? You know, I don't like fishing in a crowd. Man, for a Monday, I'm telling you what, it's crowded. It's a crowded day. Kind of disappointing. Boy, now. It's that big and wow. That's a nice one. Right out on this windy point. You see the old jig and fluke stuck right in the corner of his mouth. Oh, it's a nice chunk. That might be a 3-pounder. Beautiful. So I came out here in the wind, hoping to catch a couple more good ones, and this point is a deep point, but it's got some brush on it, so I gotta be careful. I'll probably get snagged, but that fish was there. So. Man, there's pollen coating everything. The water's stained. It's from the pollen. So much pine pollen. Go. Ooh, it's a good one, I think. Yes, it is. It's a nice one. There we go. Nice. Yeah, might be approaching 2 pounds. Nice fish. So sadly, I broke off my jig and fluke in the rocks. So I just picked up my hair jig. Catch them just the same. So, yeah, it's pretty much the same idea. they're all fun, especially when they hammer it like that. Man, those guys really kicked off some big weights there. And did that fish hit it hard? Well, I'm running out of time quick here, so I'm going to hit some of the high percentage points real quick, and then I'm going to head on home. I was kind of hoping I'd run into another striper or two, but I'll take the spots. That's fine. So I'm fishing for staging right now, staging bass. And by staging, I mean they haven't moved up to spawn yet. They're out on the points, kind of just waiting. Probably till the next full moon. Plus, you know, we're having some unstable weather. I don't know, it's a front or something. The wind's really blowing, it's overcast. It spit a little bit of rain. There we go. Oh man, it's a good one. It's a nice one. Wow. Nice big bass, big old spot. Beautiful. I thought, let me see if I can show you this. Oh, there's an underwater point here that extends out quite a ways, and I've got some wind blowing across it. So I'm throwing across this point with the wind blowing across it, and that's where that big old spot came from. And there should be another. I catch stripers and spots on this point from time to time. Oh, not as big, but it's still, I'll take it. Not a bad fish. He's a little, I guess he's littler than I thought he was. I'm not complaining, they're all fun for me. There's two on this little underwater point. There just might be another. This here is another underwater point that runs out a long ways into the lake. A lot of people, I've had a lot of comments, you know, is that all you fish with? Is a small jig or whatever? I'm fishing with this now because it's a multi-species lure. I want the chance of catching a striper as well as bass. It'll catch anything. I've catch catfish, I catch white bass, I catch walleyes. Plus it's just, you know, it's pretty darn effective. All right, thanks for tuning in. The last couple trips here, I've been concentrating on staging bass. You know, they're staging out on the deeper points, kind of waiting to make their move in. Especially when you get wind like today. It's overcast. It kind of spit on me a little bit of rain. So they don't all move in to spawn at the same time, and I'm targeting the bigger bass that are hanging out on the points. Get you a hair jig, or a jig and fluke is deadly. I've been hearing from a lot of viewers saying that they're starting to catch fish on the jig and fluke, and I'm glad. That's why I'm showing you. I want you to catch fish. So it works. I mean, it works. But thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you next time.